Hey guys, my name is Jason Patton. I am an 11-year veteran firefighter. I'm also the creator of Fire Department Chronicles. I make funny videos for firefighters. But May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And because of that, I wanted to tell you guys a story about myself, come to you guys with something that's a little more real, a little more honest with how I felt in the past, especially since there's been so many firefighter suicides and so much mental health issues in first responders. Roughly 3 years ago, I was suffering with some depression. I've had some depression issues throughout my life, but for some reason 3 years ago, it became a lot worse than it had ever been. I'm normally able to deflect it or kind of laugh it off with some friends, but for some reason, this particular scenario was a lot worse than I had ever dealt with. I had my first thought of suicide when I was a little bit younger, thought about it a little bit, but it kind of went away. And then in the time where it got the worst, 3 years ago, I had a small thought of suicide. It was, maybe suicide would make it better. And then as the depression got a little bit worse, as the thoughts got worse, the suicide came up more and more and more. And then I started to fantasize about it. I started to think about it more. I started to think of the different ways that I could kill myself, the fastest ways, so on and so forth. But that last one where I was legitimately sitting or laying on my gym floor, going through the process, I had never actually thought about and envisioned putting a gun in my mouth and pulling the trigger and that being it. That had never come to my brain the way that it did in that moment. And that's when I knew something wasn't right. So I've actually been personally affected by suicide. My dad's best friend killed himself. It was rough because his kids were really young at the time, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. And I remember they were getting a divorce, and he wasn't okay with it. So he, instead of trying to work through it or think about his children, he went into the bathroom and shot himself while his family was in the living room. And I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to want to do that because you're just tired of it. You don't want to deal with the process anymore. So I felt his pain, and I was young at the time, but I can't imagine leaving my kids because I had to see what his kids dealt with after that. His kids had to grow up without a father. In fact, his one child didn't even realize that he killed himself until he was 10 years older. It's not fair. It's not fair, and it hurts me to think that instead of giving it time, working through it, he took the way out, and his family had to suffer because of it. It took me a long time to really come to process this. I've been a firefighter for 11 years, and I've seen a lot of bad things, and I've seen my fellow firefighters kill themselves because instead of talking to each other, instead of doing what was best for themselves, they decided to take their own lives. That should never be the option. If the last option is you talking to someone, that has to be the option. Your brothers and sisters are here for you. You're never alone. You are never alone, and it does not make you less of a man or less of a woman or less of a first responder to talk to the people around you or utilize the people that are there to help you. I promise you are loved. We all are. But you have to utilize that love. You have to let go. I came very close to killing myself, and the only thing that stopped me was I didn't want to be a statistic. We're better than that. Use the people around you. There are numbers out there that you can call. People will always be there to talk to you. Killing yourself is never the option. I hope my story will help you. I hope my story will inspire you to talk to people, to laugh about stuff, but always seek the end result, which is peace. Thank you so much for listening to my story.